Good day, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for standing by. Welcome to Alibaba Group's June quarter of 2021 results conference call. At this time, all participants are on listen-only mode. After management's prepared remarks, there will be a question and answer session. I would now like to turn the call over to Rob Lin, Head of Investor Relations of Alibaba Group. Please go ahead.
Good day, everyone, and welcome to Alibaba Group's June quarter 2021 results conference call. With us today are Daniel Zhang, our Chairman and CEO, Joe Tsai, Executive Vice Chairman, and Maggie Gu, our Chief Financial Officer. This call is also being webcast from the IR section of our corporate website. A replay of the call will be available on the website later today. Now, let me quickly cover the safe harbor. Today's discussion may contain forward-looking statements. Forward-looking statements involve inherent risks and uncertainties that may cause actual results to differ materially from our current expectations. For detailed discussions of this risk and uncertainties, please refer to our latest annual report on Form 20-F and other documents filed with the U.S. SEC or announced on the website of the Hong Kong Stock Exchange. Any forward-looking statements that we make on this call are based on assumptions as of today, and we do not undertake any obligations to update these statements except as required under applicable law. Please note that certain financial measures that we use on this call, such as adjusted EBITDA, adjusted EBITDA margin, adjusted EBITDA margin, commerce adjusted EBITDA before strategic investments, non-GAAP net income, non-GAAP diluted earnings per share or ADS, and free cash flow are expressed on a non-GAAP basis. Our GAAP results and reconciliations of GAAP to non-GAAP measures can be found in our earnings press release. Unless otherwise stated, growth rate of all stated metrics mentioned during this call refer to year-over-year growth versus the same quarter last year. In addition, during the call, management will give their prepared remarks in English. A third-party translator will provide simultaneous translation in Chinese on another conference line. Please refer to our press release for details. During the Q&A session, we will take questions in both English and Chinese, and a third-party translator will provide consecutive translation. All translations are for convenience purpose only. In case of any discrepancy, management statements in the original language will prevail. With that, I will turn the call to Daniel.
Thanks, Rob. Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our earnings call today. We started this fiscal year with a strong quarter. Over the past 22 years, Alibaba has grown into a company encompassing consumer internet and industrial internet with multiple engines driving our long-term growth. In consumer business, we operated the largest consumer marketplace globally with 1.18 billion annual active consumers as of June 30, 2021. During the first fiscal quarter, our annual active consumers grew from 890 million to 912 million in China, and from 240 million to 265 million outside of China, representing quarterly net adds of 45 million in total. At the beginning of this fiscal year, we announced the plan to invest all of our incremental profit this year into core strategic areas such as technology innovation, support programs for merchants to lower their operating cost, user acquisition and experience enhancement, merchandising and supply chain capability, infrastructure development, and new business initiatives. They were designed to enlarge our total addressable market, differentiate consumer and merchant value propositions from our competitors, and generate greater consumer engagement and purchase frequency. Now, I would like to share an update on the business progress in these strategic areas. For our China retail marketplaces, a key strategic area for our incremental investments is to evolve from one super app of mobile Taobao into a multi-app product matrix. We are glad to see Taobao Deals progress in user acquisition in less developed areas, contributing to over 10 million of our new AACs during the quarter, thanks to its best value for money value proposition. Idle Fish, which is expanding from a marketplace for second-hand product trading to a consumer-to-consumer community-based marketplace for products and services, reached over 100 million app MAUs during the quarter. Mobile Taobao, our flagship app for China retail marketplaces, is focusing on creating a more engaging shopping and a discovery experience while satisfying the diversified consumer demands with the most comprehensive product offerings. New retail is another strategic area for our incremental investment, where we have built a multi-format business model to serve a wide range of consumer needs. Today, our consumer can enjoy 1-hour doorstep delivery of products ordered online through Freshippo and Taoxianda, or same-day or next-day delivery of groceries purchased from Tmall Supermarket, or order value-for-money products delivered next day to neighborhood pickup points. We believe such multi-format, multi-service level new retail infrastructure built on a highly efficient digitalized supply chain and fulfillment model can best satisfy the diversified demand of different consumer segments in different regions. Our community marketplaces business grow approximately 200% quarter-over-quarter in terms of GMV, while we expanded the gross floor area of our regional distribution centers at a faster rate at 260% quarter-over-quarter to provide better logistics support for business growth. We view community marketplaces not as an independent market segment, but one of the multiple business formats in new retail, which is meaningful to us for continuous consumer acquisition and engagement. In the past few months, Chinese regulators have issued ratification requirements against community marketplace players selling below cost, which hurts the market integrity and community livelihoods. We have paid full attention to the regulatory requirements and will continue to operate with discipline. We are committed to building a sustainable digital community marketplace with improvement of livelihoods and creates incremental value for our consumers. In local consumer services, we completed an important organizational upgrade and formed a business matrix consisting of Ele.me, Amap, and Fliggy. Ele.me and Amap will be our major consumer entry points for local services to home and to destination, respectively. During the quarter, Ele.me achieved strong order growth of over 50% year-over-year. We will continue to increase our investments in Ele.me, especially to grow the contribution of non-meal categories and to further enhance our operating efficiency. Amap, after years of investment, is evolving from a map service provider to an important entry point for consumers' discovery of local services near their destinations. Today, our consumers can find a wide range of services in Amap, such as ride-hailing, fuel services, hotel booking, tourist attraction ticketing, and so on. During this fiscal year, we expect to attract over 100 million transacting consumers in Amap across the destination-based local service. Fliggy, our vertical business for travel services, will focus on organizing high-quality supply of hotel rooms, transportation, and the tourist attraction services for consumer platforms such as Amap and Alipay to further expand its penetration in our more than 900 million annual active consumer base in Alibaba ecosystem. In our international market, we continue to see strong growth in both revenue and AAC across our consumer-facing business, achieving 265 million AAC, over 10 billion revenue, and a 55% year-over-year revenue growth during the quarter. Lazada recorded over 90% year-over-year order growth for the quarter, and Indonesia and Vietnam achieving the highest growth of over 100% year-over-year. AliExpress continues strong momentum in its major markets such as Spain, France, and Russia, leveraging the improved cross-border logistics solutions in partnership with Cainiao. However, as the European Union recently abolished the VAT exemption for imported goods below 22 euro, effective on July 1st, 2021, we expect AliExpress business growth in Europe will be negatively impacted starting the December quarter. In the September quarter, over the long run, we remain confident towards the growth prospects for our international retail market and will continue our commitment to invest in this area. Cainiao, the digital logistics infrastructure operator for our consumer business, delivered another solid quarter with over 10 billion RMB revenue and the revenue growth of 50% year-over-year, which is an indicator of healthy business development across multiple segments. The consumer logistics segment, Cainiao Post, an important network of consumer-facing logistics service points, continue to process increasing volume of packages. Cainiao Post operators also see new business opportunities in our community marketplaces business, which offer the potential to their role from logistics service providers to community group promoters. In supply chain segment, Cainiao sees a major business opportunity in providing manufacturers with a highly efficient supply chain and logistics services alongside the rapid growth of Taobao Deal. In global logistics segment, Cainiao's development of cross-border export logistics network from China to our major markets in Europe significantly improved the logistics experience for our users on the e-commerce platforms, which supported further business volume growth in e-commerce and logistics in a virtuous cycle. Alibaba Cloud's revenue increased by 29% year-over-year during the quarter, primarily driven by robust growth in revenue from customers in the internet, financial services, and the retail industries. From a product perspective, solutions for storage, analytics, learning, efficiency, and the safety use of data were among the important growth engines for Ali Cloud and deliver higher revenue growth than the overall business, reflecting common demands by enterprise customers as cloud infrastructure replaces traditional IT infrastructure. Similar to the last quarter, the slower year-on-year revenue growth of Alibaba Cloud was primarily due to revenue decline from a top cloud customer in the internet industry, which has stopped using our overseas cloud service due to local regulatory requirements. Excluding the revenue from this customer, Alibaba Cloud's revenue growth this quarter would be close to 40% year-over-year. As an important partner to the International Olympic Committee, Alibaba's cloud solution, in collaboration with Olympic Broadcasting Services, is supporting service delivery for rights holder broadcasters for the first time during the Olympic Games Tokyo 2020, transforming how the Olympic Games are broadcasted to the world since Tokyo 1964. Other than the updates on our business side this quarter, I believe our investors will be even more focused on the recent regulatory change in the China internet industry and expected impact on Alibaba. We are in the process of studying the regulatory requirements, evaluating the potential impacts on our relevant businesses, and we will respond positively with actions. We believe all these new regulations aim to foster the healthy development of the internet industry over the long run. In the context of China's economic growth and livelihoods improvement, this is consistent with Alibaba's long-term mission and vision to serve SMEs with digital technology, to serve the underprivileged groups, and to serve our consumers' demand for a better life. We continue to stay optimistic about the long-term potential of China's economy and the long-term growth prospects of Alibaba. We will fulfill our responsibilities as a platform in accordance with the regulatory requirements and continue to carry out our commitment to be a good company that creates long-term value for the society in China and globally. Thank you all. Now, I will turn it over to Maggie, who will walk you through the details of our financial results.
Thank you, Daniel. Hello, everyone. Let me start with financial highlights for the June quarter. We delivered a strong revenue growth of 34% year-on-year to RMB 206 billion during this quarter, which is mainly driven by robust growth of our China commerce retail business, Cainiao Logistics, and international commerce businesses. Total adjusted EBITDA was 42 billion, a decrease of 8% year-over-year. Our main China retail marketplace businesses continue to generate solid profitability, but as discussed last quarter, we're investing our excess profits in key strategic areas and have increased spending in specific programs designed to support our merchants. For businesses other than commerce, we saw improving profitability of our cloud computing segment and narrowing losses for DME segment. For June quarter, net income was 42.8 billion RMB or $6.6 billion. Non-GAAP net income was 43.4 billion RMB or $6.7 billion, up 10% year-over-year. Alibaba has evolved into a multi-engine company with businesses across different runways, and our revenue continues to be more and more diversified. During the quarter, customer management revenue contributed 39% of overall revenue, while it used to be a much higher percentage of total revenue in the past years. We now have many more revenue streams from a diversified base of businesses that are also fast-growing. Businesses such as Cainiao and international retail commerce grew 50% or more and were important drivers of our organic revenue growth. Talk about the investment in key strategic areas. Within our commerce segment, we're investing in a number of key strategic areas to strengthen consumer experience, enhance loyalty, penetrate into less developed areas in China, and further expand our presence internationally. Now let's look at the financial impacts of these investments during the quarter. First, Idlefish and Taobao Live has achieved a robust user growth as we increased our investment in these growth businesses. We have also increased our spending on specific programs throughout the quarter to support our merchants' operations in our China retail marketplaces. Service fees for several software tools designated to improve their marketing and business analytic capabilities were waived. Merchants' logistics costs relating to customer returns were also significantly reduced. Combined impact of these investments resulted in a 6% growth to 60 billion RMB in commerce adjusted EBITDA before key strategic investments. Commerce adjusted EBITDA decreased to 45.6 billion RMB. The decrease reflected stepped-up investment in key strategic areas, with combined losses increasing 8.7 billion RMB year-over-year to 13.9 billion RMB for the quarter. The primary areas of incremental investments were in community marketplace, Taobao Deal, local consumer services, and Lazada and other investment businesses. All of these businesses illustrated robust growth with key operating performances, as you can see in the slide, right-hand side of the slide. Daniel just now also talked about all of these growth metrics. As discussed on our call last quarter, we're committed to investing our excess profits into strategic areas within commerce as they address new consumption demands and will continue to expand our addressable market in China. We believe these businesses have the potential to be the long-term revenue growth drivers that continue to catalyze our multi-growth engine in the future. Now let's look at our overall cost trends for the quarter. Excluding SBC as a percentage of revenue, cost of revenue ratio increased in June quarter due to higher proportion of our direct sales businesses from the consolidation of SunArt, which resulted in increase of the cost of inventory. Mainly, our cost of revenue excluding SunArt and other 1P business was relatively stable compared to the same period last year. These direct sales businesses will continue to strengthen our new retail initiatives, especially in the development of our product sourcing capabilities. Sales and marketing ratio also increased, which was primarily due to an increase in marketing and promotional spending for key strategic areas and growth initiatives. These areas are focusing on user acquisition and engagement enhancement on our marketplace. G&A expense ratio remained stable at 3% during the quarter. So the revenue and EBITDA by segment, these slides provide you with an overall summary of our segment revenue and profitability for June quarter. Next, let me speak about our important segments. So let's take a closer look at the revenue and profitability of our business segment, commerce segment first. CMR grew 14% year-over-year to 81 billion RMB. This growth was primarily due to the growth of online physical goods GMV on our China retail marketplace. The growth also reflected the increase in revenue from new monetization formats, such as recommendation fees, etc. China retail others revenue grew 82% year-over-year to 55 billion due to consolidation of SunArt and strong growth from our direct sales businesses, including Tmall Supermarket and Hema. Commerce adjusted EBITDA decreased by 11%, primarily due to the investment we talked about just now. Alibaba Cloud. The cloud revenue grew 29% year-over-year to 16 billion RMB. Similar to last quarter, the slower quarterly revenue growth was primarily due to this revenue decline from the top cloud customer in the internet industry that has terminated their relationship with respect to their international business due to non-product related requirements. Going forward, we believe that our cloud computing revenues will be further diversified across customers and industries. Starting this quarter, we reclassified the results of DingTalk business to cloud computing segment because DingTalk remains in the investment phase. The reclassification of DingTalk financials resulted in lower of cloud computing profitability and did not materially add to revenue during the quarter. After incorporating DingTalk, Ali Cloud still generated adjusted EBITDA of 340 million. Next are DME. DME revenue during the quarter was 8 billion, reflecting an increase of 15% year-on-year. The increase was primarily due to the increase in revenues from Youku and Alipicture. Adjusted EBITDA losses continued to narrow to 0.4 billion RMB during the quarter. This is primarily due to improved quality of content that resulted in the reduced losses of Youku and Alipicture. Now let's review some of the line items for selected financial metrics. Interest and investment income was 14 billion in the quarter. Decrease was primarily due to the lower net gains arising from the fair value changes of our investments. The above-mentioned gains were excluded from our non-GAAP net income. Share of results of equity method investees was 6 billion in June quarter. The year-over-year increase was mainly due to the increase in share of profit of our equity investment company, including Ant and a bunch of other companies. So that's the selected financial metrics notes. And for the quarter, net income attributable to ordinary shareholders was 45 billion, or $7 billion. Non-GAAP net income was $7 billion, an increase of 13% mainly due to an increase in share of profit of equity method investees. We continue to have a strong net cash position. As of June 30th, cash and short-term investments were 471 billion RMB, which is approximately $73 billion. Free cash flow was 21 billion RMB. The decline of approximately 16 billion RMB year-over-year was driven mainly by first partial settlement in the amount of 9 billion of 18.2 billion anti-monopoly fine. This is the payment of the penalty, and increased spending in key strategic areas and growth initiatives. Now, to conclude my prepared remarks, I'd like to talk about three things. Number one, our guidance for the fiscal year remains unchanged. Number two, our investments in new strategic growth areas remain on target, and all the businesses we have invested are showing rapid growth. In the coming quarters, we'll continue to invest additional capital into programs that support our merchants and developing new businesses in strategic growth areas that will help us increase consumer wallet share and penetrate into new addressable markets. Our strong profit and cash flow generation capability gives us the internal resources to focus on long-term value creation. Number three, we are increasing our share repurchase program from $10 billion to $15 billion. This is the largest share repurchase program in the company's history because we're confident of our long-term growth prospects. Since April 1st until now, we have repurchased approximately 18 million of our ADS for about $3.7 billion. Now let's open up for a Q&A. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. For today's call, you are welcome to ask questions in Chinese or English. A third-party translator will provide consecutive interpretation for the Q&A session. Our management will address your question in the language you asked. Please note that the translation is for convenience purpose only. In the case of any discrepancy, management statements in the original language will prevail. 大家好，今天的电话会议欢迎您用中文或英文提问。我们会有第三方工作人员提供实时的翻译。我们管理层会按您提供提问的语言回答您的问题。翻译目的是方便大家理解，如果有任何异议，请以我们管理层原始语言所做的程序为准。So now, operator, please connect speaker and SI conference lines now, and then we'll start the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you. As a reminder, to ask a question, you will need to press star 1 on your telephone. To withdraw your question, please press the pound or hash key. And please stand by while we compile the Q&A roster. And to give more people the opportunity to ask questions, please keep yourself to no more than one question at a time. Once again, please press star 1 for your questions. First question comes from the line of Thomas Chong of Jefferies. Line is open. Please go ahead.
晚上好，谢谢管理层接受我的提问。我有一个问题是想先问一下，就是刚刚在prepared remarks，管理层也提到了就是这个 multi app 的 strategy，也看到了淘宝特价版呢现在的用户数的增长是非常的好。也非常的强劲，想问一下我们对淘宝特价版未来的 KPI，在 user base 还有这个 monetization 方面的看法。我另外一个问题呢是关于最近比较多的媒体的报道，就是关于行业上面呢会出现一个互联互通的这个看法。想问一下管理层呢怎么看呢？就是媒体的报道关于我们在流量或者是会跟我们的其他的互联网巨头呢会有一个更多的合作的机会。非常感谢。
Thank you very much, management. Good evening, and thank you for taking my question. My first question has to do with the multi-app strategy that you presented in your prepared remarks just now. In particular, we note that Taobao Deals is developing very well with robust growth in the user base. I'm wondering if you could tell us, please, what KPIs you have set and are looking at in terms of the ongoing development of Taobao Deals, in terms of the kind of user base you intend to reach and your monetization strategy. Secondly, I'd like to ask about the recent media reports that we've all been reading about increased connectivity that is expected to be realized in the internet industry. I'm wondering how management views these reports, these ideas of opening up more connectivity and cooperation across different platform companies in terms of traffic, in terms of collaboration with the other portals. Thank you.
谢谢。我来回答这两个问题。第一个呢，关于特价版，我刚才也讲到了，其实我们在整个中国的消费者业务上面我们现在是用一个通过增量投资，在我们的一个在淘宝这个手机淘宝之外，我们再建立几个这个新的这个消费者的 APP 这个来形成一个消费者的 APP 的矩阵这是因为今天当我们的中国的用户已经超过9个亿以后其实这个9个亿的用户其实就是他们有不同的偏好甚至他们在不同的场景当中都会有同一个用户有不同的偏好，所以我们必须给到用户更加清楚的这个 destination 去这个服务他们去服务不同的 segment 的消费者。
Thank you. Well, on your first question regarding the multi-app strategy, as I said in my earlier remarks, with the development of Taobao Deals, we are working on building a more complete app matrix to better serve the different needs of different consumers. We already have a very large consumer base with over 900 million AACs, and they all have different preferences. In fact, the same user could well have different preferences and different needs when interacting in different contexts for different use cases. So it's very important to us to be able to cater to all of those different kinds of needs and demands with an appropriate product matrix.
淘宝特价版它的整个用户的价值非常清楚，就是 for 这个我们更对性价比有偏好，对价格敏感性的用户这个是我们给它的定位。我们也看到这样清晰的客户定位带来了它在过去的时间当中的快速增长
Taobao Deals has a very clear value proposition, namely offering users the best value for money, and it's precisely that extremely clear positioning and value proposition that has allowed Taobao Deals to grow so well.
在整个阿里巴巴的整个消费者矩阵当中淘宝特价版承担的目标和任务就是能够为整个阿里巴巴的这个消费生态带来增量的新用户特别是下沉市场的新用户，同时也能够满足在特定情况下对性价比有追求的用户的需要所以它肩负的这 在消费者拓展和消费者的满足性价比消费者需求这样的一个使命，也是他的工作目标。
An important goal of Taobao Deals is to help us grow the user base, adding incremental new users, especially from the less developed regions of China, and also to cater to the special demands of certain consumers when they're looking for value for money. So Taobao Deals is all about growing the user base, growing the business, and catering to these different kinds of demands.
在这个季度当中，我们很高兴的看到，因为淘宝特价版的发展，为整个阿里在国内的这个消费者新增这个 AAC 带来了1000万这个也是证明这个策略的有效性。
And we're particularly pleased to note that the development of Taobao Deals has already resulted in incremental growth of our user base in China, our AAC number in China by 10 million.
当然，在特价版的这个在满足需求的同时，我们也在积极的建设从 manufacturer 到 consumer 这样一个这个供应链真正能够形成产业带直通消费者，这个农产品的产地直通消费者这样高效的供应链。这个也是我们发展特价版的另外一个目标。
Of course, while leveraging Taobao Deals to satisfy these kinds of demands, we're also hard at work building a highly efficient supply chain direct from manufacturer or producer, including industrial manufacturing bases, agricultural production bases, direct to consumer logistics and supply chain.
好，那我再讲一下第二个这个互联互通的问题这个问题我知道最近这个有一些媒体在报道，也引起了大家广泛的关注。
Second, let me address the question about connectivity. We're aware that there have been media reports in this connection, and this will be a question of interest, I'm sure, to many investors.
我们对互联互通的看法一直是非常清楚的。我们认为这个互联网顾名思义就应该互联这个是互联网的初心。同时呢，这个开放也是我们所有这个互联网公司和这个数字生态的一个共同的建设的基础。所以在这个问题上，我们相信这个平台之间的大的一个循环，无论是用户的循环，还是这个整个的信息的循环这个数据的循环，其实是一定是能带来这个社会价值它一定是能够超过这个单一平台里边的小循环如果能够实现这个平台间的互联互通，肯定会是带来新的这个改革红利的。
Our view on connectivity has been consistent and extremely clear. We believe that connectivity is a core value of the Internet, and we also believe that openness is a fundamental and should be a fundamental characteristic of the digital economy. When you can achieve circulation of users, of information, of data, not only within but across and among different platforms, that certainly will be conducive to realizing greater social value to a greater extent than the smaller circulation that could only be achieved within the same platform. So we do see cross-platform openness and connectivity as a positive trend that could unlock greater dividends in the Internet era.
我们也注意到，其实这个互联互通的问题也是很多商家这个包括消费者所共同关心的，也是他们的关切这个从商家的角度来讲，这个我们看到的是，如果对中小企业来讲能够解除这个外链的屏蔽这样的措施的话，其实是能够这个降低他们的流量费用，能够也降低他们的经营成本同时带来这个他们的整个的运营的便利性。对消费者很简单，就是如果是能够这个不论是这个外链的屏蔽也好分享的屏蔽也好，还是说这个支付工具的多样化也好，肯定是有利于这个消费者提升它的便利度所以这也是我们也看到，这是这个平台参与者的这个多个平台的参与者大家的一个共同关切。
We note that this issue of connectivity and openness is also of concern to our merchants and consumers. For merchants and in particular for SMEs, it would certainly reduce their traffic acquisition costs and help improve their operating efficiency and make it more convenient for them to do business at lower cost. Similarly, for consumers, it would enable a better user experience across platforms for shopping, for payment, for accessing different services, and bring a greater level of convenience to them as well. So for all of the key stakeholders on internet platforms, we see this as positive.
在最近我们也注意到，这个7月底的时候，这个工信部也启动了这个互联网的行业专项整治行动。这个中间我们注意到重点整治的问题就包括了这个恶意屏蔽网址链接和干扰这个其他企业产品或者服务的运行这样的问题。这个我们觉得这个整治行动是非常必要的我们也非常重视。我们将这个按照这个政府的相关的要求这个行动的要求这个来做好我们的工作这个套用大家经常在这个电视里面看到的一句话这个我们愿意跟互联网的其他平台一起共同来面向未来，相向而行。
We also take note of the launch by MIIT of a regulatory review and rectification project on internet companies with a particular focus on practices like the discriminatory blocking of links to other platforms or blocking of services offered by other companies. We will attach great importance to this review and rectification project and of course ensure our compliance with all regulatory requirements. And to borrow a popular saying lately, we will work to find common ground and move forward together.
Next question.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Eddie Leung of Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Please go ahead.
Good evening, guys. Thank you for taking my question. Just two quick questions about regulation. The first one is we have seen some regulatory focus on data in general. So how might that affect our compliance and IT infrastructure costs? And then secondly, in the past few months, we have also seen media reporting regulators seem to be looking at the use of heavy subsidies in the industry, including some commodity group buy business. So how might that affect our investment strategy and user acquisition tactics in some of these new initiatives? Thank you.
管理层晚上好，感谢你们接受我的提问。提两个问题，都是有关于监管方面的。一个方面是最近监管者他们的一个聚焦点是数据，那么想知道数据监管方面的一些动向将如何影响到我们的一些做法，以及我们IT 基础设施等规划。另外我们也看到媒体在报道呢，现在也是在查互联网平台大量使用补贴来获客，那么这一方面的政策动向可能如何影响到阿里未来的投资方向以及获客的潜力。
Okay, let me answer these two questions. First, about data. Well, I think actually in recent months, the Chinese regulators issued the data. I think in June they issued the data security law, and in recent months they also have issued the guidance and also to waiting for comments about the data security review. We believe this is very, very important, and we believe these laws and registrations will safeguard the long-term development of digital economy, because as digitalization is an inevitable trend, and data is becoming is a common understanding that data is a core asset for a company, for people, and even for a country. So to adopting these legislations relating to data security is very important. And China is not the only country to do this. Actually, when you look at what happened in U.S. and Europe, regulation on critical information infrastructure, personal data protection, so on and so forth, has been already being implemented. So for Alibaba, digitalization is core of our business. Data security is always the core tenet of our business, and we as always we pay highest attention to this topic, and right now we are carrying out a self-compliance checks on the latest regulatory requirement, and we strongly believe that to further strengthen the data protection will enhance the long-term health development of the digital economy.
好，那么关于数据保护这一方面，我们看到6月份中国是发布了数据安全法，那么最近几个月呢也是公布了相关的一些指引，那我们认为数据保护这些相关的立法法规政策非常的重要，能够切实保护数据安全、数据隐私，这是符合互联网行业长期健康发展的需要。我们都知道数字化现在是各行各业的大的趋势，在这样的背景之下呢，大家的一个共识就是数据已经成为了公司也好，人民也好，甚至国家也好的一个核心的资产，所以通过和实行这样的这个立法来加强对数据安全的保护，确实非常的重要。而且不光是中国有这样的立法，其实美国、欧盟我们都看到它有关于保护关键基础设施、维护个人数据安全等等的法律法规都已付诸实施。那么对阿里巴巴来讲，数字化是我们一切业务的核心，那么切实保护数据安全也是我们公司的一个核心的准则准绳，我们是高度重视做好这个数据保护、数据安全这方面的工作。公司内部我们正在结合最新的这些法律法规和行政要求，在进行合规的自查，以便进一步的加强这些方面的做法。我们坚信加强对数据安全的保护，是可以更好的推动数字经济健康长期的发展。
For the second question about the subsidies and the way of acquisition of new customers, I think, generally speaking, I think we are very happy to see the recent, actions and guidance from the regulators for a orderly market. As always, we believe that subsidy cannot create the long-term value of the business, cannot create the long-term value of the customers. So if you look at the Alibaba history, actually we never grow our business on subsidy, based on subsidies.
那么关于第二个问题，就是关于补贴和获客的问题，我们是高兴的看到最近监管方面的一些新的行动和要求，来创造更加有序的市场环境。实际上补贴是不可能为商家或为消费者带来长期的价值。那么如果看一看阿里巴巴的历史，也可以看出阿里从来就没有依赖这种补贴来推动我们业务的增长。
We strongly believe that the key thing is still the value creation for the long term. And so that's why we in this year when we plan our incremental investment, we always focus on the value creation, and we strongly we think that for other companies who continues loss making but still try to enlarge the scale by subsidies, I think at the end of the day they have to let the market see the real results, how to make profit.
阿里巴巴坚信我们必须做好长期价值创造，这个是关键。所以今年大家也看到我们所做的增量投资，重点就是在于价值的创造。我们认为有这样的其他一些公司，他们一直亏损，想要用补贴的这个方式来获得用户规模，但是到最终的时候，他们还是要想办法要让市场看得到，他们是可以通过创造价值来实现盈利。
Many thanks, Daniel and our translator.
Thank you. Next question, please.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Alex Yao of J.P. Morgan. Line is open. Please go ahead.
感谢接受我的提问啊，我有2个问题，一个是怎么看我们现在这个投资周期的回报的？那这个财报上来讲呢，我们已经非常清晰看到了财务上的体现啊，因为支出都已经反映在这个报表里面了啊。那我们应该怎么看这个回报端呢？啊，比如说在计算层面，是不是应该看用户增长，还是一些其他的指数？啊，咱们在内部是怎么考量我们的这个投资回报的？然后第2个问题，我想再跟进一下数据这边的这个话题呀，就是从现在的监管环境考虑，我们以后关于数据的运营，包括数据的这个收集、整理和运用啊，特别是可变现的业务，比如说我们的精准广告上面。基于现在的这个行业变化，特别是行业监管环境变化，我们会有做出什么样的改变吗？谢谢。
Thank you. A couple of questions, if I may. First of all, I'd like to ask about the KPIs you are applying and will be applying to evaluate the success of these incremental investments. We see very clearly in the financial results that you've released the spending side of the equation and where these investments have gone. But could you tell us a little bit more, please, about the ROI on those investments, how you'll be tracking that, what are the KPIs you'll be looking at internally, will it be user growth or other KPIs perhaps? And then my second question, by way of follow-up on the earlier question about data, I'm wondering how these new regulatory requirements and developments will perhaps affect Alibaba's ability going forward to make use of data, to collect data, process data, utilize data, especially for monetized services like advertising. If you could speak about that in a bit more detail. Thank you.
好的，谢谢 Alex 的问题啊，我先来回答第一个问题，待会儿 Daniel 来回答第二个。就是关于我们的投资，大家看到了报告季度的在这个给投资人的这个片子上，我们也有一章专门在讲，就是 investment in key strategic areas。财务的支出呢，其实已经非常清楚呢。那这里边我们也列示出这支出都是针对哪几个主要业务的，其中包括比如说我们的这个community marketplace， 我们的淘特，还有这个本地生活，还有就是我们的国际业务 Lazada， 对吧？还有一些新零售的业务，包括比较少量投资在菜鸟。那针对你的问题，就是说这个支出是这样的，业务的进展怎么样？ 在同一张的这个PPT 上面，右边呢我们列示出来进展，你可以看到几乎所有的投资领域进展都非常迅速。那比如说像这个社区这个平台市场，我们的 GMV 在一个季度的时间里面涨了200%，那个 GFA 就是这个 RDC 的这个面积也增长了260%，这个是一个前置的因素，就是我们有这个后面订单量的增长，后面 GMV 增长都会上来。然后包括我们也报了闲鱼的这个MAU 已经超过1个亿啊，还有像淘特它的 AAC 也超过了1.9亿啊，包括这个报了饿了么订单数50%的同比增长。Lazada 90%的订单同比增长。那我们内部当然怎么看这个事情？我觉得这些投资呢，到最后把它归结起来啊，因为这个进展根据不同的业务有可能是不同的 matrix， 但归结起来呢，首先消费的这个市场我们要用户，大家看到我们这个季度报，我们的整体阿里集团的用户已经达到11.8亿，那这个包括国内国际，其中国内是9亿1200万。这一个季度净增长了4500万。我们肖子曾经告诉过大家，我们自己的目标在这个未来的可见的这个将来，应该是在3个季度时间吧，我们要看到10亿的这个中国消费用户。但其实这个用户大家想象从9亿到10亿不是一个特别大增长，可是当你看到每一条业务线实际上空间都非常大，对吧？我们报的这个不管是本地生活也闲鱼也好，淘特也好，这里边都还有很大的这个增长空间。所以我们用户数这里边蕴含着不同业务的用户数，也就是它的粘性。我先停一下。
Thank you. Well, if you refer to the PowerPoint that I prepared to go along with my earlier prepared remarks, you will see that we outlined all of these incremental investments that we're making in terms of the different areas they're going to. So as you say, where the expenditure is being channeled is very clear. We have our community marketplace business, Taobao deals, local services, in the international business, Lazada, new retail, and to a lesser extent also Cainiao. And then on the right-hand side of that very same slide, we gave data to show how that spending is paying off. And you'll see that in all of those different areas, progress is being made and things are going very well. Be it in terms of GMV in the community marketplace business in the first quarter, up by 200%, or be it in the GFA RDC, the area has been increased by 260%. So that's an upfront investment in capacity that will pay off down the road with higher orders and higher GMV. We also showed there that Idle Fish has grown to MAU user base now of over 100 million, and Taobao Deals, the AAC user base has exceeded now 190 million. Ulama orders up by 150%. So, in the different business areas, I think different metrics should be looked at to understand the return on investment. Certainly in the consumer business, number of users is a very important metric to keep tracking. As Daniel shared earlier, our total AAC number in China and overseas, taken all together, has now reached 1.18 billion, with the domestic user base in China, the AAC number now having reached 912 million. So the overall China plus global user base has grown by 45 million. Also, as Daniel has previously stated, we have a goal in the foreseeable future, within, say, 3 quarters, to grow our domestic user base in China to 1 billion or more. Now you may say it's not a very big stretch to get from 900 plus million to 1 billion, but that's actually a huge difference if you think of that user base interacting with all of these different businesses, be it local services, be it Idlefish, be it Taobao, and so on. We're talking about growing that user base further, but also significantly enhancing stickiness so that those users avail themselves of all of those different businesses.
对，所以回来说，我们内部考量那个业务的进展啊，我想可能简单的说是 user， 用户基础和用户的应用以及用户的体验。那刚才讲的用户的基础这个数字，其实只看数字，这里边有一个非常巨大的区别跟其他的平台，就是里边的含金量是不同的，因为用户可以跨app 的使用我们的服务，我们体内是有不同的业务提供服务。然后第二类呢，就是应用这里面大家可以随后看到，就我们现在也在报 order 的 growth， GMV 的 growth， 这些其实都是在讲 usage。第三层呢，就是我们用户的体验，这里边就会体现我们基础设施建设的成果啊，包括供给能力以及这个fulfillment 的能力。我们陆续也会跟大家分享比如说我们的社区业务里面这个就是定时的到达率和这个就是送达率现在是非常之高啊，就是我们陆续会跟大家从这个3个角度来分享我们的业务进展。谢谢。
So just to finish the answer, internally we will evaluate the success of these investments in different ways in different businesses, but primarily in 3 dimensions. The first of which I was just speaking about, the user base growth, but also applications and experience. So when it comes to user base, something very important to understand that differentiates us from the other platforms and makes those numbers even more meaningful is that these users are using different apps and different services within the Alibaba ecosystem and will continue to grow their usage across those different apps. Secondly, when it comes to applications, we're tracking, of course, order growth and GMV growth, and we'll continue to report to you on that. And then the third dimension is user experience, and that would include improvement in supply as well as in fulfillment. And going forward, we'll certainly be sharing with you more specific KPIs in that context. For example, in our community marketplace business, our on-time delivery rate, which is already very high. But going forward, we will be reporting to you in more detail on KPIs in each of those 3 dimensions.
好，我回答一下刚才那个关于 data 的问题啊，数据的问题。其实我刚才已经讲过了，这个我们对这个一向以来我们对数据的这个收集和使用啊，这个数据的采集和使用都有严格的要求啊。这个随着这个更多的立法的这个推进啊，我们会严格的按照这个法律的要求和实施细则的要求啊，能够来做好我们的工作啊。但是这个我们相信我们一直保持着一个高水准来这个做好我们的数据的安全的工作啊，我们会一如既往的这样做。
Thank you. This is Daniel to answer the second question regarding data. Alibaba has always held itself to the highest standards and the strictest of requirements when it comes to collecting data and utilizing data. We've always done that consistently and will continue to do that. As new legislation and new policy requirements are developed, we will ensure strict and full compliance with the requirements of the law as well as with implementation guidance that is further developed. It is our commitment to deliver robustly on our commitment to data security and data protection.
至于你问到的就是整个关于法规的要求对数据的采集使用啊有更明确的要求以后，会不会对比如说这个用户的增长、业务的对这个收入的增长、对业务的增长会有影响啊？其实我们一直以来都不会单纯把数据的使用啊，包括算法的使用啊，作为以单一的这个目标，特别是以单一的效率目标啊，作为我们的这个出发点啊。
Your question also touched on the potential impact of new laws and policy requirements around data collection and utilization in terms of revenue growth, business growth. I would simply underscore that Alibaba has never looked at data utilization or algorithm utilization as a single standalone KPI or a single factor that we rely on in growing the business.
这个我举个例子，比如说我们在我们的消费者业务当中的广告业务来讲，其实这个我们的整个的数据的使用、算法的应用，其实它不是单纯以这个效率的最大化或者收入的最大化来做的，我们一直都不是这样做。因为作为一个消费者平台上面的任何的推广广告的业务，核心是这个比点击率比收入最大化更重要的是消费者的体验、产品的质量。我觉得这个用户的满意度我觉得这个是我们一直以来是把整个的数据的使用对于整个的商业价值的创造、用户体验的保护社会价值的创造，把它要变成个有机的整体，所以我们是这么来考虑问题的。
And to give a specific example to illustrate what I mean by that, in our consumer advertising business, we have never sought to leverage data or algorithms to achieve the maximization of monetization in the consumer advertising space. We think it's much less important to maximize click-through rates compared to the paramount importance of providing a top-quality user experience, a high level of user satisfaction. So we've always approached the utilization of data with the intention of growing value for the community, for the users and society.
对，所以从这个意义上来讲，我们相信整个随着对数据安全的立法、数据使用的要求越来越高，规范使用数据更好的公司会能够不仅长期这个创造的这个社会价值会更好，同时也会我们相信也能够获得更好的发展机会，我们对此坚信不疑。
Therefore, we see the enactment of data security legislation and efforts to ensure the better protection and stricter use of data as positive in terms of being able to foster value for society in the long term and to allow good companies like Alibaba to grow and create more value for their customers and themselves.
Thank you. Just a minor correction on the English translation before. I think we meant to say Ele.me food deliveries order growth 50%, not 150%. Next question.
Thank you. Our next question is from the line of Piyush Mubayi of Goldman Sachs. Line is open. Please go ahead.
Thank you for taking my question. I have two questions. The first is on the cloud growth rate, which is down to 29 from 37%. Could you just take us through what happened in the quarter that resulted in that step down in growth rate when we had seen the impact of the customer moving out in the previous quarter? So how much of it was that customer? And also, if you could just shed some light on what the core growth rate for the cloud business in China is, that would be helpful. And the second is, in looking at CMR, could you just give us a feel for how the CMR is trending versus the core GMV for your business, and any color around how GMV projections would look like through potentially the next quarter? And I ask that because through the quarter, or through the past quarter also, we had, even based on NBS data, we had a sluggish May, but a remarkably better June. And I presume that a lot of the improvement in June was fostered by you. And if that pace of growth is a function of how you're fostering growth, I wonder how the rest of the year looks. Thank you.
好，非常感谢。我提两个问题第一个是关于云智能这一方面。刚才我们看到云智能的增长率从37%下降到29%，能不能请你们展开介绍一下？这是您提到前一季度有一个客户的流失，那么这个收入增长率的这个下降，其中多少是因为那一个客户的 离开，那么其他多少程度上是其他因素造成的。另外一个问题是关于客户管理收入，就是能不能介绍一下它的趋势以及它与 GMV 的一个关系？然后不知道方不方便问一下，就是你们对于下一季度的 GMV 有什么样的展望？之所以提这个问题，是因为上一季度包括这一季度，我们都看了看国家统计局的一些数据，然后发现呢，5月份这个业务是很淡的，但是6月份呢是相当要好很多。我想是6月份这个提速很大程度上是靠阿里巴巴推动的。那么如果是这样，接下来这一季度又会是怎样
？Thank you, Piyush, for your questions. Let me answer the two, and then maybe Daniel supplement. So for cloud revenue, we talked about the this one single top cloud customers impact to our revenue. So without this impact, our cloud revenue would have been showing close to 40% year-on-year growth. And we do see strong growth in many industries within our cloud business, like internet, finance, and retail sector, etc. Talk about this one customer impact. We expect this impact to continue for the remainder of this year and until the full exit of this customer's international revenue. So looking forward, as you've seen, there are many changes and also new rules and regulations comes out. There might be impact on other customers, for example, like online education customers. However, overall, we still believe the addressable market for giant cloud service is still huge, and we just kept focusing on all of these solutions, products and technology upgrade, ensure the customer experience, and to grow the business. So that's for the cloud. There will be some near-term bumps and a continued impact from that top customer. One more thing to add to the cloud revenue is about concentration risk you might have in mind. So if we take out that one customer, our top 10 external customers' revenue contribution to our total revenue is just single digit. So we're pretty diversified in the cloud revenue. So question 2 about CMR growth. The CMR growth has this linear relationship with the GMV growth. So we see that relationship still there. One thing I want to highlight is that CMR as a percentage of total revenue right now is 39%. So we do have a lot of new revenue streams coming in and adding total revenue pie. Going forward, GMV growth, I think with the total national GMV growth, you can tell from the NBS data, we are quite representative to the total pie. If you look at our over 8 trillion total GMV as a percentage of total China's consumption is becoming very important and essential. So it can't be very different from the whole national online GMV growth. Danny, you want to supplement?
好，谢谢。我先回答一下关于云智能收入的问题。我们前面介绍的就是云智能收入的这个下降，就是因为一个头部客户海外云服务不能使用的一个影响。那么如刚才发言时所介绍，如果剔除这样一个单一的一个头部客户的这个影响，那么云智能的收入本来会实现40%的 同比增长，而且我们的云智能业务呢，在很多不同的行业，尤其互联网、金融、零售方面增长都是强劲的。那么刚才讲到的这个单一客户的这样一个影响，我们预期会继续持续，直到本财年结束时，到那时候它的国际业务会完成这个脱离我们的云服务。那么展望未来，我认为云服务可能会出现一些坎坷，有可能会波及到其他一些类型的客户，比如说这个在线教育类的客户，但是我们认为这个云服务的市场潜力非常的巨大，我们的聚焦点在于全方位提升我们的服务、产品、技术，能够提供更优的客户体验，能够不断的推动我们业务量的这个增长。那么与此相关的一个问题就是您可能也在想，就是我们云智能服务是不是存在所谓集中风险？那我可以这样回答这个问题，就是去除刚才讲的那一个头部客户之后，那么剩下我们头10大的云服务的外部客户，他们占云服务的总收入的百分比是单位数，所以说明我们这个集中度风险是很低的。第二个问题呢，您是问到客户管理收入 GMR 的增长，那么确实它一直与 GMV 的增长是呈线性关系，那么这样的一个线性关系依然还在。刚才也介绍了，我们现在 CMR 是占总收入的39%，充分说明我们新的这些收入流在实现很好的这个增长。那么刚才你也提到国家统计局的这个全国性的数字，那么阿里巴巴作为这么大的这个平台，8万亿人民币的 GMV 已经占到全国这个线上零售较大的一个份额，应该说是有一定代表性的，也就是说阿里巴巴平台的表现不会脱离全国线上零售这个大的一个趋势，不会偏离它太远。
One thing to add before I give to Daniel is that the future revenue stream, I think whatever we're investing nowadays, including all of these new strategic business areas, including all of these infrastructure like supply chain capability and fulfillment capability construction, is aim to all of these aim to provide additional value to our customers. Once we get the scale of the business, development of the business and the customers keep coming to use our services, there will be opportunity for us to monetize the value provided. So these going to be new revenue resources to our overall group revenue. Thank you.
对，在交给 Daniel 继续回答之前，我再补充一点，就是关于未来的收入流。如前面介绍，我们正在投资于很多新兴战略领域包括我们的基础设施能力、供应链能力、履约能力的建设等等，其目的呢都是要能够为我们的客户创造新的价值。那么一旦我们达到了一定规模以后这些客户继续来使用这些服务，那么未来我们会有机会对于这些新创造的价值呢加以变现，那么这些又都会成为新的收入流。
Yeah, just to add a few words on the cloud business. I think the most important thing to look at the cloud business is about the total addressable market in the long term. And I think all the people will can recognize that today is just a beginning stage. And just now, Maggie share with you our business situation from a customer portfolio perspective. Now I just want to add a few words on it from a product perspective. I think today for many enterprise customers, how to run a efficient infrastructure basically the entry point services they need when they decided to move to cloud. And over time, we are happy to see that they get used to when they move to the cloud, they will have a higher demand in terms of how to collect and especially the computing and the usage of the data. So that's why they have a high demand on the not only on the data storage but also on the data analytics, on the data database, and even data security relevant services. So actually, this is exactly what I said in my remarks, that in this particular quarter, we see if you look at the growth rate by product, by services, actually the services for data usage, data storage, and data analytics, data securities, actually their growth rate is higher than the average. So I think it's more like we have these entry point services as ours, and then going forward we try to upsells and cross sales many more services to our enterprise client when they are in the process of digital transformation.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
关于云智能业务我想再补充说明一点在云智能业务方面，最关键的一点就是它的总体目标市场长期发展的一个规模。我想大家都可以清晰地看到，云智能市场才处在起步这样一个发展阶段。那么刚才 Maggie 她是从我们这个客户组合这样一个角度介绍当前云服务的业务情况。下面呢我换一个角度，从产品的这个视角展开介绍。那么对企业用户来说如何利用云服务获得高效率的这个基础设施这个应该说是入门级的这样一个需求。那么他们上了云以后，他们习惯了使用云端服务他会有更高级的更广泛的需求，包括在运算方面，包括的数据的这个采集利用方面也就是说会有数据存储、数据分析数据库，包括数据安全等方面的需求，所以我们都可以继续给他们提供这些服务。那么刚才在发言中也介绍了，我们在云智能这个板块当中数据存储、数据分析、数据库，包括数据安全这些服务它的增长率是高于整体的。所以我们可以说 IaaS 是一个入门级的要求。那么在完成了这个 IaaS 的升级之后呢，我们可以给这些客户做很多升级和交叉销售。
Okay, next question.
Thank you. Next question is from the line of Jerry Liu of UBS. Please go ahead.
谢谢管理层。对，我也有两个问题第一个我是想就是我们之前也讨论了很多关于这个投资这方面的一些问题我是想具体聊一下这个 marketplace based core 这边的这个利润增速最近也有所放缓，然后这边主要我们现在投入的重点是哪里？然后呢特别是这个淘宝直播怎么看最近这边的一个发展情况？谢谢。
Yes, thank you, management. I have a question also on investment, which we have been discussing, but I'd like to know if you could tell us a bit more about the investments you're making in the marketplace-based core and also in particular in Taobao live streaming.
我来说一下，就是其实这个答案很简单，怎么看这个 marketplace based core 这个整个的利润的变化 ，EBITDA 的变化，其实最简单的回答是因为我们增量的投入到了新的 marketplace 的 business 上面因为今天传统上我们讲marketplace 就讲淘宝、天猫，但今天随着我们在新的几个 marketplace 上面的建设每个都有不同特点的这个用户价值，所以我们在打造一个 marketplace 的矩阵，而不是单一的一个 marketplace。所以这是我们怎么看这个 marketplace 的这个整个的这个财务数据的变化的这个视角。
Thank you. Well, I'll take that question. I think it's a very simple answer. When you ask about the marketplace-based core and EBITDA there and how we should look at that, we're investing, as we said, in new businesses. So when we used to talk about marketplace-based core, it was Taobao and Tmall, but now we're working hard on building all of these different businesses, each with its own unique and compelling value proposition, and collectively forming a matrix of marketplace-based core businesses. So that requires that we take a different perspective in evaluating marketplace-based core profit.
对于直播来讲我们一直认为直播它它是一种新型的一种销售方式但是它是整个商家整体的数字化经营的一个组成部分。
In terms of live streaming, we see that not merely as a new approach to selling goods online. Rather, we see it as an integral part of a merchant's overall approach to digital operation.
所以对阿里巴巴来讲这个我们的优势是在我们能够为商家提供一个多场景多这个形态有多技术来支持的一种这个365天都能持续经营的一个这样的一种这个运营生态其中直播是很重要的一种方式，但不是全部。
So one of the key things that Alibaba brings to merchants and that distinguishes Alibaba is our ability to provide multi-dimensional, multi-use case, multi-value services 365 degrees across an entire ecosystem, creating value for merchants, and live streaming is just one part of that.
从商家的视角来讲他们需要的是一个可以对整个用户生命周期进行经营进行服务的这么一个选择这个并且能够在整个的运营周期当中来衡量这个整个的运营效率和它的整个的收入增长和利润增长，而不只是从单一的一场或者两场直播当中来衡量这只是中间的片段而不是整体。
And what merchants really want and need is the ability to conduct life cycle management of their customers, the ability to track and measure a range of KPIs around their customers, their revenue, profitability, and not just the ability to track the success of one or two live streaming sessions. That's just one part of the process, but the bigger picture is the customer life cycle.
所以我们会继续经营整个我们的这个整个的数字化商业的生态能够为商家提供多样化的服务我想这是他们的长期的价值的追求也是消费者或者长期价值追求的保证。
So going forward, we will continue to develop this comprehensive digital ecosystem and a comprehensive suite of services to support and enable merchants. And when merchants are supported and enabled in this way, of course, that is how consumers will be able to experience the best possible online experience.
Okay, I believe that's all our time for today. I thank everyone for joining today. And if you have any questions, follow up, please do contact me and the IR team. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, this concludes today's conference call. Thank you for participating. You may now disconnect.